cannot make procrastination, you cannot procrastinate on what it is that you have to do.
Definitely. Now, I realize that different people have different meanings to things. And when it comes to procrastination, a lot of people sometimes don't even see it as procrastination. They might just be like, oh, let me just, delay it a little bit. Let me just push it a little bit. And there might be an argument that, okay, so I'm just delaying it for a while doesn't necessarily mean that I'm procrastinating. So we're going to be breaking down the conversation this morning on procrastination, what it means, and how you can stop it if you think it is a bad thing for you. Now, procrastination, according to the dictionary, is the act of delaying or putting off tasks until the last minute or past their deadline. No matter how well organized and committed you are, chances are that you have found yourself frittering away hours on trivial pursuits, that is watching TV, updating your social media status, shopping online, etc., when you should have been spending that time on work or school-related projects. Whether you're putting off finishing the project for work, avoiding homework assignments, or ignoring household chores, procrastination can have a major impact on your job, grades, and your life. We are all familiar with procrastination phenomenon. When we procrastinate, we squander away our free time and put off important tasks we ought to be doing until it's too late. And when it is indeed too late, we panic and wish we got started earlier. In the university or in school, generally, is where you are going to see very big examples of procrastination. Major examples, in fact. I'm talking about when you're meant to, go to class and you're like, let me just wait a little bit. Let me just push it. The man will not be there. No, let me just wait. It
always comes late, so what's the point?
What's the point? Let me just, or you have assignments. We have 4 more weeks now. We have 2 more weeks now until it's that we can hear. And then you start running helter-skelter. Or when you have to read for tests, when you have to read for exams, or when you have to do group assignments and all of that. For group assignments, I can tell you for a fact that a lot of people procrastinated. It was too much. I'll just give you an example. So there was this particular group assignment that we were 5. And I was leading the group. It was an assignment for you to listen to the radio, and then it was a Yoruba program that you're meant to listen to, and then you're meant to write it in Yoruba and translate in English. Right?
I would definitely have procrastinated with that.
See,
on that assignment.
It was a 1-hour program that you're meant to listen to from top to bottom. Write it in Yoruba with the signs and symbols, and also translate in English and transcribe.
Oh my goodness, 1 hour.
Transcribe, yes.
1 hour.
Yes.
Okay.
I knew there was one extra thing that I wasn't adding. You have to transcribe. So that is after you have translated in English, so you transcribe in English. Wow. Because we were doing Yoruba, so we couldn't really transcribe in Yoruba. So we're 5, me and some other people. There is 2 people that were not really committed to the job. They were couples. Right. And they were classmates. And they, everybody knew them as lovebirds and all of that. And that's very nice. But what wasn't nice was the fact that they weren't always forthcoming when it had to do with assignments. So people didn't really like them to be in their group. Fortunately for me, they were put in my group. So I like to work with people's strengths. So we had a meeting. What are you good at? Oh, I can write in Yoruba very fluently. This particular Yoruba program is very nice. This is the one we should do. I enjoy it. I never miss it. So don't worry. I'm going to listen to it for 1 hour, and I'm going to write everything down. Great. We have somebody that is interested. No, and then don't worry. I'm good at it. That's one. Okay. So Once I'm done writing it in Yoruba and putting all the signs, I need somebody that would translate in English. Oh, I'm very good in translating in English. That wasn't me, of course. And then the other person picked it up. I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to transcribe. I got help from a lot of people that were very good in transcribing. I just needed to ask and all of that. So please, the both of you, what are you going to do? Oh, don't worry. We're going to also listen and make sure, because, I mean, you cannot entrust a 1-hour program on one person. That's not very nice. So how about we do this? While the 2 people are listening, let one person record.
Okay.
You know, because you're writing it, you cannot write as fast as the speaker.
Yeah,
it's not possible. So you have to listen back. So how about one person records? But because we knew how these people were and they procrastinated a lot. So, I mean, we were given 4 weeks to do this assignment. It's a very tough one. You needed a lot to actually do it and pull it off. Okay, guys, how about we listen to it this week? Those guys, they were like, no, we have an event. We have to go. The first week was gone. Second week, how about we start doing it? We still have 2 more weeks now. Why are we rushing? Sorry, 3 more weeks. Why are we rushing? Why are we pushing it? Why are we doing this? Why are we doing that? I started getting frustrated and a little bit anxious because it's not very easy. It is not an assignment that you can rush to do.
Sure.
So what I decided to do was, we asked them after the second week that, okay, how about we do the third week? And they gave an excuse. I just told the rest of the team that, you know what? So that we don't fall into any situations where we have to run helter-skelter, how about we do this and just leave those guys alone? And everybody agreed, because everybody kept on asking me, what are we doing? What are we doing? What's going on? What's going on? And all of that. And then we decided to do it. So I decided that I was going to double my job as both a listener, a recorder, and a transcriber. And then everybody doubled on their efforts because these people decided to procrastinate and not show forth. And we did very well. And of course, the last part of the assignment was to present. We're meant to present everything that we're done as a package to the class and everything. And of course, every member of the team has to be there because that's where they'll get their scores. And then, yes, we decided to do that. And then these guys came forth and then they wanted to be a part of the whole presentation. We allowed them. We allowed them.
They've not.
We allowed them come to the front of the class and all of that. And when the lecturer asked, because the lecturer will ask, was it everybody that participated? And what did you do? And explain how you went through it. So, you know, because everyone went through different things. How did you go? How are you able to achieve your own bids? How are you able to come together as a team? Because what group assignment is for is to actually teach people how to work in teams and all of that. And everybody was able to say how they did this and all of that, and then they weren't able to say anything. In fact, they wanted to lie, and all of us just looked at them like,
Don't even try
it. And all of that. And they didn't. And that is a major assignment that if you don't do, because that you don't write tests in that particular course. If you don't do it, there's a high possibility that you might fail. That is if you're not going to measure up and all of that. And they were very angry with us at this and that and all of that. And I had to tell them that, look, one, you guys procrastinate a lot, and please, a lot of people don't even want you in their team. You have to measure up and all of that. And that's one very big disadvantage of being a procrastinator. A lot of people wouldn't want to work with you. A lot of people wouldn't want to be with you because they know that I can't trust you. You are not somebody that I can trust. And you're somebody that would give me major anxieties because you will not do your job. You are not going to meet up with deadlines, and you're not going to do the needful. So why should I even work with you if you are always going to give me headaches? So it was a whole lot. And that's one thing about procrastination. It doesn't help out at all.
So, you know why it helped? You know why you guys were able to pull the entire thing off? Was because it was just 2 procrastinators that you had. Just imagine if the whole team was a procrastinator, and then you were the only one. And like you already explained, that kind of assignment is not something one person can do.
It is not a one person's job.
Perhaps you would have just given up.
Of course. at some point, or I look for other alternatives, or just report the situation. Do you understand? Like, I mean, it's not just for me. And remember, a procrastinator would use theirs to affect yours.
Definitely.
That's just it. Especially if you're on a team with somebody like that, or you're working together, you would always be frustrated because you know that once they give this person a bit, the person will take forever to actually get it done. And what is really painful is the fact that if this person is very talented or hardworking or very innovative or creative, but they are just not very good with deadlines, are always pushing things aside, and they're not measuring up, all of these gifts and talents will not show.
Do you feel like over familiarity can actually cause one to procrastinate, most especially when it has to do with teamwork?
I think over familiarity can be problematic. I think so too. I think when you're very familiar with somebody, when you're so sure you're your friend, your family, and all of that, you can feel like, it's Kemi. It's Kemi. Why should I be bothered? Kemi, I will do it. I will do it. And don't worry, Kemi is fine. I'm going to do it. So why should I be bothered about pushing? And then Kemi is there frustrated that, but I want you to do it today. I want you to do it today. Is it not this thing? Don't worry, I will do it tomorrow. I'll do it next week. I forgot. How about in 3 weeks' time? And it goes on and it goes on. So yes, I think over-familiarity can be problematic.
Honestly, procrastinating can really hinder one's progress.
Yeah.
We keep saying, oh, we want to climb the ladder of success, want to do this, want to do that. But a lot of us are still in our comfort zone and we procrastinate a lot of things that, and I feel like most of the time is because of lack of prioritization. We can't seem to, we can't seem to decipher which is the urgent task and which is not the urgent task. We seem like, oh, okay, so everything is important.
Okay.
But, I mean, it is very important that we are able to, if we have to draw out a list of order of importance that shows which task is more important. Of course, whatever it is that you have to do is definitely going to be important. But without a doubt, there is one that is more pressing or would always be more pressing than the other, So it's very, very important, and that's why we're talking about procrastinating, because it is a big deal and it has hindered a lot of people moving forward. And so we'll be giving you tips on how to actually stop procrastinating. And the very first one that we have here says, break your work into little bits. Yes, part of the reason why we procrastinate is because subconsciously, we find the work too overwhelming for us. Break it down into little parts, then focus on one part at a time. If you still procrastinate on the task after breaking it down, then break it down even further. Soon, your task will be so simple that you'll be thinking, this is so simple, I might as well do it now. This is actually very true. In fact, when it has to do with, I want to come from the angle of we that draw out our to-do lists. A lot of us, when it comes to drawing out a to-do list and all, we often fill out things that, or fill in things that, can always wait till the following week. But just because maybe we are trying to get things done, we are trying not to procrastinate on a lot of things, we tend to fill out a lot of things. And then by the time, instead of you crossing out each task from your to-do list, you see that you're adding, or you've not even touched one just because they seem too overwhelming. And the same thing as when you're doing, so I believe that at times our brain, our attention span depends on the task that we're being given. If it is a task that seems so complex, it can limit our motivation, the rate at which we are motivated to want to do something, to want to do that task. So honestly, when a task seems so difficult or seems too complex, it is very important that, we break it down. At least when we break them down into bits. We're planning on, we're organizing a show. How would this show go? How do you want it to go? You list them down. You can't just say, oh, we're organizing a show. We would have this, we'll have that, and then we bring them together. But if you are able to break them into bits, okay, so I think this should come first, under this that should come first, this can first come, everything, just break them into parts. It will make the work seem simpler. At times, you would even tell yourself that with time, I know I can do this, even on my own.
Yeah.
Of course, there are some tasks that will require you to ask people for support. But at times, when you break some certain tasks down, you realize that you can actually do them on your own, because by the time you break them down and you're doing it, you won't seem too tired doing that task compared to if you just take everything all at the same time and then you feel like you just want to, carry out the task all on your own. But when you break them into bits, it makes you see, or it makes it easier for you to do the task.
Yeah, it just simply put, simplifying your tasks is very important for you, because there are times whereby when it looks very big and gigantic, you might just become very
laid back
and overwhelmed. Like, oh, let me just wait for a while and let's see how it would get easier and all of that. But if you're able to break them into little bits, like, okay, so today I would pick up a pen. Tomorrow I'm going to write in a book. Next tomorrow I'm going to print it out, and all of these things in bits and pieces. Now, this actually depends on the kind of tasks, because there are times that you have to follow a certain pattern if you're doing things. But what makes it easy is if you understand what you're doing. For instance, if you are a creative and you have to probably draw, paint, or shoot a movie, you know what you need. How about you start by actually listing out what you need? That's the first thing. What do I need to make this work? How do I go about it? How much do I need to make this work? What is my budget? What are the equipment? Write everything down, note it down, print it out. However, who are the people that I need to make this thing work? Start by maybe reaching out to them, sending a message and all of that. You see, you are already putting everything into perspective. Or if you feel like, okay, let me do everything at once, it looks bulky, and of course you will procrastinate. And that, of course, will lead us to the next tip that says, getting started is the hardest part, but start anyway. Stop telling yourself that it's pointless to do just one little thing. Getting started, of course, is the hardest part. Once you do that, you've got the ball rolling. Don't let your brain short-circuit your motivation with contrary thoughts that might delay getting the job done. Begin small tasks that move the process forward. This could include preparing the heading of the email or checking that a room is available the next day. This happens a lot where, you are afraid, a lot of things are happening, you want to start a business, or you want to start a job, or you want to go to a certain school, you want to send an email, you want to write a book, you want to do something, but you're like, if I just do this one, it's too small. Or you want to post a YouTube video or something, you want to be a creative and all of that. Oh, if I do this, it's too small. If I do that, it's too small for me. If I write this, it is too small for me. How about you just start? Mm-hmm. How about you do that? How about you just take that step today? It might be rocky, it might be shaky, it might not be smooth. Just try. Try first and fail first. Somebody says, is it fail first or fail fast? It's fail first.
Fail first.
How about you fail first? It is so important that you try as much as possible to, you do that, really.
Okay, so I feel like a lot of us, we are waiting for perfectionism, for lack of a better word. We are waiting to, let us figure out when this will be. We have to beat these people. We have to be perfect. We need to make sure that we don't make any form of mistake, or we don't feel like this because our life depends on it and all of that. But in the process of you waiting for everything to be perfect, in the process of you trying not to fail, you might actually fail. So instead of waiting, because you're waiting, time is going, and at the end of the day, you might not even be able to achieve anything. So like the write-up already says, just start. They say the journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. At least take a step. Start first. Begin something. Don't procrastinate. Don't wait till when you figure out the entire thing. If you figure out something, write it down. At least align it. Okay, so what are the things, like you already said, if you're a creative, for example, what are the things I feel like I need for this job to be done? You can write them down. Writing the things you need down, it's a step. Instead of waiting just because you've not figured out how the tax will end or how the tax will even begin, does not mean you can actually not start, right? Any idea that comes to mind, you can just jot them down. The most important thing is that you are starting something. You begin the task and you're not procrastinating. But however, we move on to the next one, and this next one says pick the right time. You can find the time, but make sure it is at the best time for you. The hardest tasks, the ones you tend to put off, should be tackled when you are at your most efficient and focused. Get to know yourself. Are you a morning person? Get the door work done at the start of your day. If you don't, these tasks will clutter up your mind and block you from doing other simpler tasks. So get them over with as soon as possible. So for me, I want to use myself as an example.
All right.
When I see that a task seems difficult, I like to do the simpler ones first. And this is because it gives me ample time to, prep for the hard tasks. So I want to do something. I need to, get a story. I need to get pictures. I need to do this and that first. Yeah. What is the hardest part? Is it getting the story? Is it getting the pictures that seems hard? Or is it even, say I want to edit these things. Yes. Is it the editing that seems very difficult? Okay, let's just say it's even the editing. Very good. It seems to come, when I've done the pictures and all of that. First, I get the pictures. First, I get the stories, rather. Then I get the pictures. And, so the hardest for you to do a task that seems very, very hard, you need to be at your best. You need to be focused, because even the simple ones, it's something you can quickly just do, But when it comes to hard tasks, because if you're not at your best, if you don't feel energized enough, if you don't feel motivated enough, trust me, you will just do rubbish at the end of the day, right? And even if you put in a lot of effort into the simple ones, at the end of the day, the task will still come out bad, because what you were supposed to put more of your energy into, you did not. So, it's very important that you find that time that works for you. Are you a morning person? Do you feel like waking up in the morning is when you do the most? Or do you feel like, it's at night that you're much more productive and all of that? If you can understand yourself first, you understand what works for you. For me, I would say I'm a morning person. Not early morning person, but at least I like to do my things like in the morning, because I want to use the night to rest and all of that. So if you can understand yourself, what works for you, when you feel like, so this is the time I'm more productive, then you'd be able to actually complete a lot of tasks instead of procrastinating. Because trust me, if you feel like, let me just get the task done, it's because it's needed to be done, and you're not at your best. Trust me, you churn out rubbish at the end of the day, and you will not like your results. Yeah.
All right. So now this one says, make a reasonable to-do list. Wanting to do lots of things is very good, but you have to be realistic. A to-do list that's too long will only discourage you and more likely drive you to procrastinate. Try to keep track of the time you spend on each task to better see what you can achieve. Then at the end of the day, analyze the amount of time you've planned to spend on a task as against how much time you actually spent on it. Remember, it's okay if you spent more time than you had planned. Today's great professional achievements have taken years to produce. A to-do list can never be overemphasized. Yeah. And this is why. There is this Oriental adage, I'm trying to remember now. The faintest pen is better than the brightest brain. Yes, it is. And this is why. No matter how brilliant or how exceptionally smart you are, you still forget things. Yeah. It is normal. Absolutely normal for you to forget things. But What cannot be forgotten is what has been
you've
written
written down.
or what you've typed or what you've kept, only if it was destroyed or stolen. But if you've written it down, you would always, whenever you see it, you remember. Oh, okay, I wrote this and all of that. And that's one of the reasons why I always encourage a to-do list. Something short, something simple, always have a list. It helps. Whatever it is I want to do, I'm working, I'm planning something, my daily activities and all of that, I always have a to-do list. I have a friend that has a whiteboard in his house, and he's always, anytime he wakes up, he's always writing out whatever it is that he wants to do, lists out his to-do list, and whatever it is that he has done, he ticks it. Whatever it is that he didn't do, he asterisk it and say, okay, and put a date to it, and whatever it is that he's ready to work on, he writes it down and all of that. So every morning when he wakes up, he sees it. Same as some people that I know, I have sticky notes.
Okay, that can work too, because I was going to say it's not everybody that has
everybody, of course,
board,
different strokes,
and paper can be very, very, even if you say, oh, so let me jot them down in my jotter, you can forget it.
True.
So
I have sticky notes that
works.
I place on different parts, especially I have friends that have sticky notes that they place on their laptops or their bed stands and all of that. The walls. I have reminders too, because I get very forgetful sometimes, especially when I'm doing a lot of things and I might get swamped. So I always have reminders that I set at different times that I'm always, okay, you're meant to do this. I need to list out my to-do list. I always make sure that it's not more than five lines and all of that. It's not bulky. It's not something I'm like, when did I write all of this one? And also very, very short, very simple, easy to do, easy to go. I try to do that day to day. And I'm really encouraging that you also do it too. No matter how much you're doing, just jot those things down. Like, okay, so tomorrow I want to make sure I get to the market and get these things. And when I'm at the market, I want to get tomatoes, pepper, onions, and all of that. That way, it is so easy for you to, not forget that these are the things that you have to do. Just make sure you have a to-do list. If it's sticky notes you want to have, reminder on your phone, you want to print it out, you want to have a board, whatever. It's really nice if you have a to-do list. That way, you will take your tasks very
one after the other.
One after the other. If it's the hardest one you want to do first, you do it. If it's the simplest one you want to do first, you do it. And you realize that day in, day out, you cultivate a better habit of getting your work done.
I even like to include the time that I would like to do each task. Of course, we know that anything can happen.
Anything can happen,
it can change.
Actually. Yes.
But at least you've already included the time. So what I do is I give myself, say, for example, I've included 5 tasks that I would like to accomplish for, let me even say, the day. Okay, maybe early in the morning. Okay, I'm a morning person. I'm always more productive and all of that in the morning. I put up the hard tasks to begin with. I start with the hard tasks. I give myself time. Okay, so I'll take a break when I'm done with this one, 2 hours break, do this and that. And you just see that, everything, you're able to accomplish everything you've listed. One thing that can be really frustrating is when you draw out a to-do list and you do not even do one. I know of a friend, every day she draws out a to-do list, but hardly will she accomplish one. And the funniest part, I won't say she procrastinates, because you will see her doing, she would always be on one task, but she can do one task for 5 years. For lack of a better word. So me, I feel like ours is lack of prioritization. Probably. Not knowing which one, should come first and which one would take longer time. And perhaps she has not even figured out how that task should go. So she spends the whole day doing just one. At the end of the day, she will not finish that one. She will not postpone the to-do list to the following week. My friend can do like just 5, for a whole week, and she has still not crossed out like 2 out of. So it's very important that, don't make your to-do list too bulky. Don't make it so difficult for you to not even want to, that you see it like this, you want to run away. Just keep it very simple and very, very short. Trust me, that way, it will limit the ways you procrastinate, and you'll be able to achieve a whole lot more than instead of you procrastinating.